I'm Elwirfy, and today we're going to be talking about evergreen content. What exactly is evergreen content? What do we need to know about evergreen content? And why is it important to kind of understand how evergreen content works, how useful it is to even bother trying to make evergreen content, and ultimately how is it going to help your channel if you do make evergreen content? Like, what is it good for? Why bother? Evergreen content is essentially just this idea that something is timeless, that whatever you make, it's going to be watchable again and again and again. It's going to stay relevant no matter what goes on, and that's hard to do because, times change, what's important changes, and people have different opinions about what counts as like an evergreen content or what doesn't count as an evergreen content, and it can be really hard sometimes to know exactly what to do in order to make something remain as evergreen content. So the best thing that you can do, in my opinion, is just to pick a topic that people are going to want to keep watching, they're going to want to keep learning about, they're going to want to keep thinking about, and ultimately trying to do better on, which is really important for a number of reasons. But I think that the main reason why it's important is that you're able to, so you make a video and you're like, okay, here I'm going to talk about YouTube, I'm going to talk about like why it's important to be good to the people, right? And that will always be relevant because people will always want to make sure that you're saying good stuff about your people, that you're like respecting your community, that you're being thoughtful, that you're respecting their time, providing value. And if you do stuff like that, you're going to make videos that can stick around forever. You see videos that like will come back after 10 years, they get recommended to you. You're like, why the heck is that being recommended to me? But it's because the algorithm thinks you'll like it and because it's evergreen content. If you make something that's time full or not evergreen content, where it's like, oh, let's talk about this court case, for example, and let's see what's going on there. Well, that might not last forever. I mean, it's just one case. There's so many court cases, and they all are only relevant while they're happening, and then once they're over, it's kind of like not really important to the rest of the public. So it's probably not content that's going to last. Probably not content that's going to stick around and be timeless and be that evergreen content that you're really looking for. I think that if you're going to make content on your channel, you want to try and make it as evergreen as possible. Now, obviously, when we play games, especially on this channel, I know that things get patched, things are edited, and ultimately, we can't control that. We don't have control over what the developers do with their games, but hey, we can still enjoy doing the best we can, and to me, you can make evergreen content with video games by making sure that the experience that the viewer has is still enjoyable no matter how old the game is, right? That's how you know, essentially, if your video is going to be an evergreen content kind of video, which we all want to do. We all want to aim for evergreen content. Why do we want to aim for evergreen content? Well, besides being besides being talented enough to make a video that is able to be timeless and is able to stand the test of time and truly be helpful to everybody who's involved with watching the video, I think that you also would do well to make sure that whatever content you're making, it's something that isn't going to be very controversial. It isn't going to like spark any kind of like hate mob or something, or at least I would hope not, because I know it can be very difficult sometimes for some people to get content figured out. I'm going to drink water now, even though I'm not sponsored. Very sad. Because if your content isn't gonna last forever, right? Maybe you don't want that, right? Maybe you're trying to make like YouTube Shorts, for example. YouTube Shorts are a perfect example of things that are not evergreen content, because you look at it, you have your phone and you're like swipe, and you swipe the phone and oh, it's gone. Like it doesn't stick around. There's no interest in like rewatching videos and stuff as much. Yeah, you can go to someone's channel and like see all the shorts. Oh god, don't channels look ugly when they have a big long thing of shorts? And it doesn't really feel like they're putting as much time and effort into their channel. I don't know. I don't like shorts. But that's a video for another time. I think I even made a video about YouTube Shorts. I just don't like it. And it's also not evergreen content. Like, something that is evergreen, you're going to be able to watch over and over and over. And it's always still going to be relevant one way or another. Even if things change, it'll still provide entertainment value at the very least. If the video is entertaining, well put together, it's got a lot of thought behind it. Like, I put as much thought as I can into an improvised video, with these ones, like, I think of a topic and I try and keep it on topic and make sure that you guys understand the topic as a whole. That way, at the end of the video, you understand, like, oh, I just watched this video about evergreen content, and here's why it's so important. Why is it great to make that? Things that you want to just kind of avoid, in my opinion, besides things that are obviously trendy. If you do something trendy, trends obviously fall off all the time, so don't bother with that. If there's a specific event in media that's going on where that seems controversial and crazy, just get out of there. Don't even bother, because once that controversy goes away, it doesn't matter. Like, for example, I made a video talking about Will Smith hitting Chris Rock, in the previous video, and it's great, it did good, it had a lot of views, but then, it doesn't matter anymore. It happened. People are now, at this time of the video, talking about something completely different, and that's okay. That's happened. That's how media works. But that video is now no longer that important, and it won't get views, and I'm sure nobody has any interest in watching my video talking about how that moment changed media. But hey, that happens. Not every video is going to be able to be evergreen content, even when you try your hardest to make it so. Like, this video is literally just us defining evergreen content, so that way you guys can understand why it's important for your videos. Because as smaller channels, you need to understand that we don't have as many opportunities to get views. Like, you make a video and you're like, I hope somebody watches it, right? It's not like you have hundreds of thousands of views and you're like, well, hopefully enough people watch it that I earn enough money, right? You're not... The mindset is different when you're this small. When you want to just grow an audience, grow a community. When you know that even if we do hit our landmarks, we're still not going to make a ton of money. That's okay. That's fine. Because that's not why we're on YouTube, right? We're here to enjoy, here to provide value to others, and make good content. And good content tends to become evergreen content more often than not. Because, look, I got videos from years ago, right? My diplomacy videos. Those are a perfect example of evergreen content because the rules of that game don't change. I explain how to play pretty darn well. We talk about strategy, which is really interesting, so it keeps people hooked. And overall, we do it in not too long of videos. I think they're about 20-minute videos, and they got thousands of views on them. Shoot, this channel doesn't get thousands of views. I haven't seen thousands of views on a recent YouTube video in years, It's just been so long. But the reason why I got those views is because I made evergreen content that will be good forever. I even tried to capitalize on that evergreen content by making like a part 0, kind of explaining the rules of the game. And you know what? It didn't do well. It wasn't good. Unfortunately, I missed my window of when I was going to be able to get the most out of that evergreen content. And it's a shame. That's why, again, with these videos, which are really great, a great example on my channel is me talking about different topics. For the most part, what I'm talking about isn't really going to change. I'm not really that worried about any of these topics kind of no longer being relevant, as long as YouTube operates the way it does. Obviously, if YouTube changes its whole platform and we all have to make our videos by putting our hands behind our back or something, or like, oh, hands can't be in the video or something. You know what I mean? Something weird, or like a dumb rule, like, oh, you have to have your eyes closed in order to make a YouTube video, otherwise YouTube will ban you. You know what I mean? Unless it makes something like stupid like that, I don't really see YouTube changing in all that significant of a way for a long time. So hopefully, these videos make sense to everybody and that they're providing good value to you. And if you want, I could even look at, I'd be down to look at a channel that maybe is worried about whether or not they're making evergreen content, because I know it's hard, and it can be hard to tell sometimes if something's going to stay relevant or not. I know if you focus on something trendy or kind of in the moment, that for sure, like, just straight up, that's not evergreen content. It'll be cool for a bit, and then it'll just disappear, and that video will no longer be relevant in helping your channel gain views, gain following, because people won't be looking for that topic. They won't care about that topic. They won't have an interest in clicking on that topic. That's why you got to make your videos clickable timelessly as well, right? That's why right now, for the style of my backgrounds, I just do a random color background and I put some words in front of it that are relevant to the video, and then I make sure that the title is on point of what we're talking about for the most part. And I do that as a way to make sure that people who are passing by clearly know what my video is about, and because I do, again, try to make evergreen content that's always going to be relevant, at least to somebody, that should be making it more clickable than if someone made a meme compilation of like a game that died 10 years ago, right? It's like, here's some Doom clips, but here's the thing, like, Doom keeps coming back. That's the cool thing about video games, right, is that old video games do keep coming back, and I think old video games are actually perfect examples of evergreen content, so long as there's a community behind it. You can make a video about, a game from 10 years ago, and it'll re-pop up and resurface because of new spikes in popularity and because people still play games. I don't think there's really many games that have actually 0 players. There's always a game for somebody, right? Someone's always playing something. So I think if you do a gaming channel, you're all set. For cooking channels, recipes don't really change. If you're knitting, that technique probably doesn't change. Like, there's plenty of things that are evergreen to content that you can do that I probably can't even think of. And if you are making that kind of content, that's awesome. Shoot, keep going for it. As long as whatever you're doing essentially doesn't change and stays the same for as long as you think is reasonable enough for your video to succeed, I say go for it. Make the video about whatever. I don't want to discourage, like, this video isn't to like say, oh, you're making videos that aren't good. Essentially, as long as you're not following a trend, you should be fine, I think. As long as it's not something that's like super, super popular and then will die out, right? Like, if you make Fortnite videos, no one's going to find you because it's oversaturated, and ultimately that will die down too, I think. Especially as people have kind of hated on it more and more. Anyway, guys, thank you all for watching. I've had a super fun time making this video, and I'm going to do more kind of definition videos, I think, because I think it's important to understand what I'm talking about, because I know that the language of being a YouTuber isn't always clear. Anyway, guys, thank you all for watching. I'm Elwirfy, and I will definitely be seeing you guys next time. Take care, everyone.